I just feel like the problems of the 1980s were so much better than the problems we have today, you know? And Phil Collins would sing about all of them. Such a sensitive voice, that guy. You know? Actually, I just heard he's coming out of retirement. Yeah, clap, it's good. Let's give it up for Phil, come on. Yeah. I think he's gonna have a hard time though, you know, writing about today's problems, you know? Because it's stuff like, are your kids OCD? GMOs, the TSA, and let's face it, it's hard to make songs up about initials, right? I guess you could do ISIS and Crisis. Phil could make that work. I really don't like when people wear initials on their clothing. You know, this guy's covering it up back here. It's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's just very presumptuous that I would, you know, care about your name, number one. I could see the point if you have Alzheimer's, you know? You're like, oh yeah, that's me. Yeah. And then there's that Louis Vuitton guy, right? What an asshole. Forget it, all right? Either that or he was just very afraid that he was going to lose his luggage. Of course, now everybody else has his initials on their baggage, and I think they missed the point there. These are just things I know. I've been traveling a lot lately. You know, you notice these kinds of things. Speaking of the TSA, you know, you gotta admit it's kind of working, right? Yeah. I think it's because the terrorists hate waiting in line as much as we do. Yeah. I think the main requirement for joining the TSA is that you had to have worked at Denny's. Basically. They're like, oh yeah, you were a busboy. All right, here's a badge and a sense of entitlement. Welcome aboard. You know? And I just feel like with the TSA, you know, it's like, you just never know what you're going to get, right? So I have a great idea. I say, let's take the TSA and let's combine it with Obamacare, right? With rising healthcare costs and everything. Because I figure if you're going to finger my butthole, you might as well check my prostate, right? Like no bombs, no cancer. You're good. Concourse B's that way. Yeah. So, you know, the other day I go to the airport, and the funny thing is, like, in American society, you know, there's kind of like this unspoken rule that you should not judge. You hear people, don't judge. But once you step foot in an airport, the judgment is on. You notice that? According to what class you're in. It's like we embrace the class system once we enter an airport. You know? And nothing lets you know how far away you are from fulfilling your dreams like being in zone 3. And there's like this perfect parallel between what zone you're in on a plane and what zone you're in life, right? And even the ticketing agencies, you know, they don't give you any respect when you walk up to them. Like, I swear this one looked at me like, you know, you can't pay your rent, can you? And I think she even mumbled, sociology degree. Like, no, communications. And even as you're filing onto the plane, nobody wants to make eye contact with you. You know? It's like the plane walk of shame. You're filing on and people are like, yeah, no more room for your luggage, nothing. And forget about asking, you know, for anything. You know, I asked the stewardess the other day, you know, for blankets, she gave me a Kleenex. I was like, God. So I got on the plane and I forgot to bring something to read. And this is a terrible feeling, right? Being stuck with your thoughts for hours on end. No? Just me? So I look over the shoulder of the guy next to me and he's reading The Bicycle Times. And I instantly felt better about myself. Apparently bikes are changing, folks. You need a publication to keep up with all the change. New breakthroughs in spandex. All the wrong people wear spandex, so it doesn't even matter. Right? Do you wear spandex, man? No? That's all right. No judging. We're not in an airport. It's okay. So there I am, but thankfully the airline did have a wonderful magazine, maybe you've heard of it. It's called the Sky Mall magazine. Have you read this? It's a great magazine, you know? And I get so needy when I'm reading this. Like, all of a sudden I realize I need an insect vacuum. You know? Of course, if you need a vacuum to combat your insects, it's probably time to call the health department. And then there is the traveling oxygen purse. Have you seen this? It's amazing. And of course the picture is of a little old lady on the dance floor with an oxygen mask strapped to her face. Nothing shows support like a family member who sends their grandma out in a life support system to the dance floor. And then there are the shoes with springs in them. Now I think this is a great idea actually because, you know, a little bounce in your step, right? The only problem is the logo is a sperm. Have you seen this? I mean, it's an actual spermatozoa with a tail. I wonder about the guy who came up with it. Clearly he got sperm in his shoes. He was like, hey, I've got an idea. You know, we'll get some porn stars to endorse it, and blah, blah, blah. It's like the worst idea I've heard of since, you know, bring your child to work day at Subway. Yeah. So anyway, after I'm reading, I'm trying to doze off, and then on comes the captain. And what I want to know is, where did these guys all learn to talk like that, right? It's like I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden it's like, stewardess, it's gonna get bumpy. And if you look out the window, you'll see the Grand Canyon. It's like listening to somebody have phone sex while giving me a geography lesson. He's up there flying with one hand, you know? And so as I'm, you know, sitting there taking all this in, I'm like wondering about it, like, well, if you don't have the voice, and you go through flight school, like, are you just totally screwed, right? You don't have the creepy uncle thing going on? Well, Carl, I'm sorry, but you have failed your captain's speak course. We're sending you to Greyhound. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. And then, you know, you always hear people bragging about being in the Mile High Club. You know, have you ever heard anybody talking, oh, I'm in the Mile? And it's like, yeah, but you still had sex in a bathroom, right? And if you're okay with that, you probably have already accepted the fact that you're going to die alone. Or wind up on some national registry, right? Just saying. I don't know what it is about, you know, bathrooms in places of transport, but I mean, like, if you think of a gas station, have you ever been in a gas station bathroom that did not look like a crystal meth rape room? Right? I rest my case. And then at airport bathrooms, like, supposedly this is like some hot spot for gay trysts with congressmen, you know? The toe tap, I'm always afraid somebody's gonna tap my toe, man. It's horrible, it's scary. Thankfully though, there is the family bathroom, right? Great idea, where you could start a family with a little more privacy. But in my experience, it's really just a place for the family to awkwardly stand around while daddy takes dump. That's my time. Thank you guys.